PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down every single game of the 2024-2025 season, we are going to be discussing the Vegas Golden Knights going on the road, heading over to Anaheim, and going to be taking on the Anaheim Ducks out there at the Arrowhead Honda Center out there in Anaheim. And this was a really interesting game. There was some good back and forths. There was a lot of action, some highlights, and there's so much we're going to talk about. And this game, I will just call it what it was. It was a sports circus out there when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights game out there in Anaheim. And we're going to go over all the pregame notes. We'll do the lineup card and everything like that here on this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. And this really interesting to see what happened when it came to the Golden Knights and the Ducks, because these are two teams that are kind of on the opposite spectrum. On one hand, you have a winning team. You have a team that's a championship contender, an organization that has great talent, good, solid defense. Power play is one of the best in the NHL. This is an organization that's on the rise. They're up here. They're at the top. And then you have a team like the Anaheim Ducks that is rebuilding. They have young talent, but they're unpolished. They're raw talent. Goaltending has kind of just been iffy at times. John Gibson, who, by the way, still holds the record for the most losses to the Vegas Golden Knights at 22. Should have been 23, but Lucas Dostal, he was the goaltender tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. So, yeah, you guys ruined that, keeping that streak alive. But when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks, this is a team that's clearly on the downward, and they're trying to get back up, where the Vegas Golden Knights are up here, and they are contending every single night. So, yeah, you're really seeing two different ends here, and kind of fun to watch this team, Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks, here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, when it comes to roster moves involving your Vegas Golden Knights, we're talking about the Anaheim Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights recapping this game out there at the Honda Center. And there's two moves that are notable. And we're going to mention them very quickly, but they are very impactful. Your captain, Mark Stone. So after suffering that injury against the Edmonton Oilers, he has not officially been placed on IR. He has not been placed on long-term IR. He is listed as day to day. Still dealing with that lower body injury. Now, we're going to need confirmation, and we're going to have to wait to see if he does officially get put on injured reserve. Now, when it comes to that, it does mean that he would have to miss several games if he does get put on there. But the best case scenario for your Vegas Golden Knights, and this is just speculation, I'm not going to report on that, but speculation would be best case scenario, Mark Stone comes back at the end of the month. Worst case scenario is that he has an injury that is so severe that he misses the next month. So when it comes to Mark Stone, hopefully we'll get more information on it. When we watched the video back, and we talked about this on the recap show, I think 1 or 2 shows ago, it did look like it was a groin injury when McDavid, when he waved his stick and it hit Stone, it hit him in the lower body area. So it does make sense there, but it could be a knee, could be an ankle, could be a groin. But once again, not going to speculate on where exactly it is, but a lower body injury listed as day-to-day for your captain, Mark Stone. But someone on the roster moves that did indeed happen, Victor Olofsson has officially been placed on long-term IR. So Victor Olofsson, who suffered that injury a few games back, he has been out of the lineup. He has not been anywhere near it. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why we have seen Cole Schwindt be on the fourth line, because they had to have somebody take his place in the lineup. So Victor Olofsson officially placed on long-term IR. He's going to have to miss several games because of that designation. And when it comes to Victor Olofsson, this is someone who is brought in to kind of help out with Jack Eichel, former line mates out there in Buffalo. And with Victor Olofsson, it will be interesting to see how he performs out there, when he does come back from injury eventually. Long-term IR, that's going to be a couple of weeks. I say that he'll probably be out. Best case scenario, early December is when we'll see him back with the organization. But with Victor Olofsson, maybe we'll see him, come back, wear a red jersey at some point in practice. And when that does happen, we will let you know. Going to give you an update on Adin Hill. Now, Adin Hill, when he let up those 4 goals on 21 shots against the Carolina Hurricanes, I did mention that he was favoring his right leg. And I was wondering if he had a possible injury when he was skating off the ice. Now, he has been not only medically cleared, but he is in net for your Vegas Golden Knights in this game against Anaheim. So clearly, whatever it was, maybe it was a stinger. Maybe he just caught it in the wrong area and he just had a stinger and that's why he was skating awkwardly. But he is medically cleared. He will be your starting goaltender tonight. So Akira Schmid not going to be in net for Vegas. Ilya Samsonov, he is supposed to be coming back very soon. In fact, I won't be shocked if the next game they do, Ilya Samsonov will be in net because it looks like he is at 90%. It looks like he's ready to go. But good news for the Vegas Golden Knights. Adin Hill did not get injured, and he will be your starting goaltender for tonight. And the biggest news that did come out, however, is that because Victor Olofsson is put on long-term IR, that freed up a roster space. So Gregory Diansenko, not Brendan Bryson. I could do a rant about this, but I'm going to save myself. Gregory Diansenko was recalled from the Henderson Silver Knights. He will be in the starting lineup for this game against the Anaheim Ducks. So just like how Jonas Raumbier was recalled when Mark Stone got injured, with Diansenko, him now being in the lineup because officially Victor Olofsson being placed on long-term IR. And Brendan Bryson not being called up, not Raphael Lavoie. He hasn't been called up either. And kind of makes you wonder why the Vegas Golden Knights took all that time to claim Raphael Lavoie, but he has not been called up. Brendan Bryson, former first-round pick, and something must have happened behind the scenes to make him not get called up and have Diansenko get called up. Now, he played about 5 or 6 games last year with the Vegas Golden Knights organization, and, he's just your typical fourth-line guy. He's someone who's just going to be a bottom 6 forward. I would compare him to a Byron Freese from a couple of years ago, how he was with the Vegas Golden Knights, and he was someone you put on the fourth line when you needed somebody. He would be there. Sheldon Rempel, he was someone that was also in that same situation. AHL guy. You'd call him up in the NHL. He'd play, a decent amount of games on that bottom 6 for you. But, yeah, Gregory Diansenko, don't expect much in this game. But he did make an impact, not in the way you want, but he did make an impact in this game for the Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, him recalled from Henderson, and it wasn't Brendan Bryson. So yes, definitely something behind the scenes happened. I don't know if it's with Bruce Cassidy, with George McPhee, with Kelly McCrimmon, whatever it is, but Brendan Bryson not back up during the recall. So, and getting into the lines for your Vegas Golden Knights against the Anaheim Ducks, and obviously I told you who is in net. That would be Adin Hill. But we're going to go over the forward lines and the defense here on Vegas Hockey Up Recap, talking about their game against the Anaheim Ducks here on PR Connections Radio. So on the first line for the Vegas Golden Knights, we have the duo that has had some of the best chemistry in all of hockey, Ivan Barbashev and Jack Eichel. And then in a mix-up, and I'm going to assume that it's Bruce Cassidy trying to give him a chance here, Alexander Holtz, who has really been on, the second, third line for majority of this season. He is going to get his chance to be on the first line. Now, here's a disclaimer. It lasted 1 period. Pavel Dorofeyev went immediately, and his chemistry with Barbashev and Eichel was an almost instant. I like what I've seen with Pavel Dorofeyev. When it comes to how he has played, he has done well, but yeah, Bruce Cassidy tried to give Alexander Holtz a chance. All right, that first period, he was on that first line skating around with Barbashev and Eichel to start out the game. And there's no nice way to put it. I'm not trying to smile. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm not trying to be a wise ass. But Alexander Holtz, you're not working out. It really seems like whatever line they put you on, you're just not that guy for the Vegas Golden Knights. You're not really seeing the scoring output. There really isn't a lot of positives when it comes to Alexander Holtz. But yeah, he was on the first line to begin the game with Barbashev and Eichel. The second line, which has been consistent over the last 10 games, Brett Howden, Pavel Dorofeyev, and then Tomas Hertl in the center. On the third line, Gregory Dyanchenko, who got recalled from Henderson, he would be on that line with Tanner Pearson and William Karlsson. And then Jonas Roundbeer, he is not in the lineup for this game tonight, as Cole Schwindt, Nicholas Waugh, who was on the first line for the last couple of games, he is now back on the fourth line, and Keegan Kolazar. So this fourth line has kind of been the usual pairing when stuff goes right. So Kolazar and Waugh, they've been a duo for a while. Barbashev and Eichel, they have been a duo for a while. Hertl and Dorofeyev, really ever since the playoffs, we've kind of seen what Hertl and Dorofeyev have done. And then I kind of like what we're seeing with Pearson and Karlsson. We've actually been seeing that line kind of come together over the last little bit. And then defensive pairings, there have been the usual suspects, Noah Hanifin and Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb, and then Ben Hutton and Zach Whitecloud. And then, like I alluded to, Aiden Hill in net. But yeah, I mean, this first line, having Alexander Holtz be on there to begin the game, like I said, it didn't last long. I really didn't expect it to last long. But Bruce Cassidy obviously trying to give Alexander Holtz a chance with the Vegas Golden Knights. And, it's still a long way to go in this season. There's still a lot of ways to go. I mean, we're not even, I think, at the quarter mark yet. But, I mean, Alexander Holtz, he really need to step it up because they've been giving him chances and opportunities. And this first line with Barbashev and Eichel was one of the biggest opportunities we have seen with Holtz. And last game, I kind of complained about how Mark Stone not being in lineup. You could tell the energy is different, the hustle and everything like that. There's a little bit of a difference when he's not in the lineup. But, this game was a big difference. We actually saw the Vegas Golden Knights neutral zone was not many turnovers in this game. And, you saw the crossbar. They helped out Vegas a couple of times in this game, affected Vegas once or twice, and also helped Vegas once or twice in this game. I like the defense. The defense against Anaheim, one of the strongest performances we saw defensively. The defense getting in front of Hill, helping him out at times, giving him the opportunity to make some clutch saves for Aiden Hill. And then offensively, we know what some of these guys can do. And the first person you really have to acknowledge is Jack Eichel. And I know that a lot of people appreciate what Jack Eichel can do, but just look at this stat line real quick. In the past 4 games, Jack Eichel has had 9 points in 4 games. He is averaging over 2 points a game over the last 4 games. And it's still way too early to go into the MVP conversation. Like I said, we're not even anywhere near the halfway point yet this season. But Jack Eichel is on a run. His assists, his goals, the way that he is the leader and the ringmaster when it comes to the offensive zone, the way he controls the puck, the way he dictates the flow on the offensive zone. Jack Eichel, 9 points in the 4 games that they've had recently. And when it comes to Jack Eichel, watching this game against Anaheim, it was so apparent that he is your key to the Vegas Golden Knights winning. All right, he is your MVP at this moment in time with the Vegas Golden Knights. And, watching this game, I mean, he really set the tone. I mean, on that power play, him and Shea Theodore helped Tomas Hertl. I mean, when Tomas Hertl hit the power play and scored for Vegas, Jack Eichel was a big part of that. So Jack Eichel really was the clutch player in this game, and that Tomas Hertl power play goal to help give the Vegas Golden Knights the lead in this game was key. Nicholas Waugh, even though he's back on the fourth line, him scoring the opening goal for the Vegas Golden Knights, that was good for him. We're really seeing Nicholas Waugh progress and grow as time goes on with the Vegas Golden Knights. And you know what? Cole Schwint, he's a rookie. They got him from Calgary, 4 assists on the year. We're still waiting for him to score his first goal of the season, but still 4 assists there. Shea Theodore had 2 assists in the first 2 goals of this game. And even though Vegas was up 2-1 at the end of the second period, that's not what I was focusing on. What I was focusing on was that this was a Vegas Golden Knights team that, unfortunately, they had some discipline problems. This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that had 3 penalties in this game. They killed them off thanks to the penalty kill, but this Vegas Golden Knights team, this sloppy discipline, I've not really been a big fan of too many penalties. I mean, this is an organization that Bruce Cassidy has been trying to help them overcome that discipline issue. But yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights, I kind of look at some of these penalties, and it's just, you really need to look at your hockey IQ, keep your discipline in check, keep your cool when it comes to the NHL. And yeah, the tripping penalties, they happen. All right, I'm not calling out the Jack Eichel one. But Gregory Diancenko, the hooking penalty towards the end of the second period, so blatantly obvious, by the way. It wasn't even one of those hooking penalties where, you try to let go or you try to, play the innocence. No, it was so blatantly obvious with Diancenko. And then, the high sticking penalty from Brett Howden, caught him up high. It is what it is. That does happen, but it does show some a lack of discipline when it comes to hooking and when it comes to high sticking and stuff like that. Just a lack of, awareness. And the main positive I get from this game is the second line. I talked about the Tomas Hertl power play goal. That got him up 2-1. And then Pavel Dorofeyev, the interception on the defensive zone. He intercepts the puck from Anaheim, skates down, beats Lucas Doskal, and gets the 3-1 game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Pavel Dorofeyev, the way he's replaced the goal scoring that Jonathan Marchessault left, incredible. I am amazed by how Pavel Dorofeyev has filled that role. There were so many people that were wondering where the goal scoring was going to come from Vegas when the offseason, you saw Stevenson, he left. You saw Marchessault, he left. You saw some really talented goal scorers lead the Vegas Golden Knights. And this young Pavel Dorofeyev has not only impressed me, but he's starting to impress other people. When he has the puck on his stick, people are taking him serious now. So, yeah, second line, lighting up the lamp twice. 2 of the 3 goals coming from that second line. And, hey, he had a bad outing last night, or the last game against Carolina, but good outing by Adin Hill. Adin Hill did a really solid job, had 22 saves on the game against Anaheim. And overall, Adin Hill did what he had to do in this game and to get the Golden Knights a win against the Anaheim Ducks. So got to give props to Adin Hill on there. He did a really stellar job. As a matter of fact, Adin Hill is going to be your player of the game here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. And really impressed with what we saw. I mean, him to overcome the bad outing he did previously where he got pulled in the second period, to go from doing that to recover mentally and have a rebound game against the Anaheim Ducks. Really good job by Adin Hill. And this is your win-loss record for the Vegas Golden Knights, one of the best records in the Western Conference. Now, unfortunately, the Winnipeg Jets have the best record in the Western Conference, but your Vegas Golden Knights are second in that category. So really solid job by Vegas overall. And this is Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And we'll do Vegas Hockey Hub Recap for every single game this season. We've done it last year. We're doing it this year. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. Go Knights, go. And I will see you next time.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.